I quit hitting the caps lock key. This is the default. Isn't that cool? And then end parentheses that. So make sure I compiled recently. So we can see there that now I have an even better render section method. So I think, to me, this is one of the coolest parts of Razor, is that now I can pass in basically HTML literal into there without having to do all sorts of string concatenation. So for example, if I wanted to show like the number of players again, I can just say @model.count. Oh, that did not work. Why does that? Oh, I know why that. I'm in the layout, and the layout doesn't have a model type. But if I did have something, I can just do this, view bag.title or something like that. Something that we know is there. Let's make sure it is there. I can just put it here. View bag.title equals test. Okay, so it works. The key thing to notice here is that what you would have had to do before when you were calling this function, if it just took a string, you would have had to concatenate all this stuff together and make sure that everything you were concatenating was properly HTML encoded. With this, you had this really nice templating syntax that you could just pass right in. Now, you are all developers just like me, and if there's one thing I know about developers is that we're a little bit obsessive compulsive. We like to have things our way, and we're very picky and particular about things. So this little this dot is really annoying me. I don't like it. I want it to go away. So what can we do about that? Well, we're going to go dig deeper now. And you'll notice that in the views folder, there's this little web.config file. This web.config file is the little bit of magic that tells all the files in here that they are actual Razor views. And the key section here is this host factory type. So you see here that we have this MVC web Razor host factory. This factory is the thing that's in charge of instantiating and creating instances of Razor. But this guy here tells us what the base page type is. So if you recall, I said that Razor views are actually compiled into a class that derives from this class. But we can change that base class, and we can do whatever we want with it. So let's do that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new class. And I'm going to call it custom web page base. I'll just get rid of the namespace so it's easier to use. Now, in a real app, I would always keep the namespace in, but it just makes it a little easier. So the thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to make it of type T. And that T, the generic argument is for the model, right? So it's like if you're going to have a strongly typed view. And the interesting thing about MVC3 is that all views are actually generically typed, because by default, if you don't specify model type, we use dynamic. So your model will be dynamic, which is kind of nice for people who like a more dynamic approach to their views. And then, as I said earlier, web page base of T. Did I choose wrongly? Web view page, excuse me. And then we need to make our class abstract, because the class that is generated is the one that's actually going to derive from it. So now that I have this, I could actually put in my own render section method into this class. So let's do that. So I'm going to go to utility, and I'm going to take this method, and I'm going to get rid of it from this class so it's no longer there. And I'm going to add it to our custom web page base. So since it's now an instance method, we'll get rid of the static. And then I don't need this part because this is a method of page. And just get rid of that. Get rid of that. Let's make sure that compiles. So what I've done here is I've created my custom web page base. I've added my own method to it. Now I just need to go tell MVC about it. So I can go to web.config, and I can get rid of this and say, you know what, use this instead. And here's the cool part. So I haven't even compiled yet, right? Well, I compiled the class. I better make sure I compiled. But I didn't have to close and reopen Visual Studio. It's going to recognize this immediately. Or not. Oh, you know what? I know what OK, I didn't have to close Visual Studio, but I do have to close the file. Custom web page base. I guess we didn't go that far, but. So now we can see that I have my overload now, and I don't need the this, and I can call footer, comma,